Hi, everybody. Today I'm going to take a few minutes to review the homework assignment that I gave you guys last week. As I was looking through your work, I noticed there were some key concepts that were a little tricky and didn't quite come through in everyone's answers, and that's completely normal. Sometimes we need another look at the material to really understand it. So in this recording, I'll walk through the assignment, point out the important ideas, and give you some examples to help make things clearer. Okay, so you're going to need a highlighter and a pen or pencil, okay? If you need to go gather your materials, go ahead and pause the video so you can go get those things. All right, so on your lines of latitude and longitude work, first thing is to make sure that you put your full first name. So our sample student, Raven Walker. Okay. And this assignment was from last Thursday. Let me check the date. So the date that you should have is 9/25. Okay. All right. So some key concepts that you need to make sure that you understand are definitely your definitions of latitude and longitude. Okay. You need to make sure you get that information from here or your notes. You need to remember that with latitude, they are called parallels, and they are all measured in degrees, okay? So your central or your 0 degree measure for your parallels or lines of latitude is the equator, okay? Right here, it says the equator is considered 0 degrees. Parallels run all the way to 90 degrees north and 90 degrees south, okay? Lines of latitude or parallels never meet, okay? So these are all lines of latitude, okay? They never meet. Again, because they're parallel lines, just like in math, okay? So some more information. We're going to continue on with longitude, okay? Lines of longitude are called meridians. So latitude lines are called parallels. Longitude lines are called meridians. They run north to south, okay? So this is a picture example of longitude, okay? Just like you have a major line of latitude, you have a major line of longitude, and that is called your prime meridian, okay? All right, so it says your meridians or lines of latitude run north to south, and they measure how many degrees east or west a location is. Your starting point or 0 degrees is the prime meridian, okay? Also, like your lines of latitude, they are measurement lines, okay? So all locations to the west of the prime meridian are labeled as west, and all the locations east of the prime meridian are labeled as east. Remember, we were talking about our cardinal signs, our cardinal directions, sorry. North, south, east, and west, okay? So when we're looking here, it's saying that these lines that are east of the prime meridian, when you see the measurement, you're going to see E for east. The lines that are west or to the left of your prime meridian are labeled with W. And that's a key component. That's where a good deal of us got tripped up last week. Okay. All right. Now, when I was walking through class on Friday, you guys seem to get this page for the most part right. So I'm not going to really review this one in too much detail. I can say, though, that if you need to review your responses, definitely use this textbook and focus on pages A2 through RA2 through RA3. Okay, so I'm going to put up here your geography book, pages RA2 to 3. Okay. All right. So moving on. Go ahead to our third page. Important lines of latitude and longitude. And again, most of you got this page correct when I was walking around, but I do want to just review some things on this page to help you to just make sure that you got it right. Okay. And I'm going to use color pencils. You did not have to use color pencils in your assignment, but I'm going to use color pencils to make it that much more clear. Okay. So let me go see if I can find a longer. So I'm going to use a folder to help out with drawing my lines. Okay. So on this page, your directions say, draw the major line of longitude, which is your prime meridian. Also draw in the major lines of latitude. That's your equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, the Arctic Circle, and the Antarctic Circle. Okay. It says use an atlas to help you find the location and a ruler to ensure your lines are neatly drawn. Label all the lines. So again, we're going to use the atlas, the reference atlas on page RA2 and RA3 in the World Geography book. And the first line that it asks us to draw is the prime meridian. Remember, your meridians run north to south, okay? Now, unfortunately, in this textbook, our prime meridian is right here on the bend of the page, okay? You'll notice that it cuts through part of the continent of Europe and on the horn of Africa, the continent of Africa. So we're going to find those two areas on our map and we're going to draw the prime meridian, okay? So again, this is that piece of Africa, that horn of Africa, and then we've got that piece of Europe. So I'm going to take my folder and let's do the prime meridian in blue. Okay. Oh, this ended up being more of a purple. Okay. So on your paper, this is where you should have the prime meridian, and we're going to label it. Okay. So we've got number 1 checked off. Okay. Our next one is the equator. So let's check back on our atlas. Okay. I know it's kind of hard to see, but our equator is here. And again, it runs west to east. It is a parallel line. Okay. And it looks like it goes through the northern part of the continent of South America. It goes through the continent of Africa, and it runs through the country of Indonesia. Okay. So let's look at our map. So it looks like we've got South America here, Africa there, and Indonesia there. So we need to make sure that our equator is going to run through all of those continents to be somewhat accurate. Okay. I'm going to use red because it was my next color up. So let's see. So again, we've got South America, Africa, and Indonesia right there. So we're going to use our edge of our folder, or if you've got a ruler, and we're going to draw our equator straight through. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and label it. Again, refer to your directions for correct spelling. If it is spelled incorrectly, it is wrong. Okay. All right, so we've now got our prime meridian and our equator labeled. Next is Tropic of Cancer. And again, these are all lines of latitude. So we know that these lines are going to go across. Okay, so we're looking for Tropic of Cancer. So our Tropic of Cancer is here. It's on this map, on our atlas and our textbook. It's denoted by a dotted line. Okay. So it looks like Tropic of Cancer goes through Mexico. It goes through the continent of North America, specifically through Mexico, the northern African continent, and through India, through about the middle of India and into China. Okay, so let's find that on our worksheet. Okay, so here's Mexico. We've got Northern Africa here. We've got India here and China. So let's see. We're going to line it up about there. Looks like we hit all our main points. So let's go with green. We're going to go with green for our Tropic of Cancer. Okay. So next we're going to label Tropic of Cancer. And again, if you did not get these in a correct place, take the time now to go ahead and correct your paper. Okay. If you need to pause, you feel more than welcome to go ahead and pause the video. Okay. So we can check off Tropic of Cancer. Next is Tropic of Capricorn. Okay. Back to our good old atlas. Tropic of Capricorn is south of our equator. And it looks like it goes through also the continent of South America, the southern tip of the continent of Africa, and through Australia. Okay. So let's find that here. We've got our about here. Oh, hold on, wait. Let's see if we can kind of match it up. Probably more about here because we still need to go through the southern part of Africa, and we need to make sure that we get through Australia. So let's kind of use Africa as a guide so that we don't leave that part out. And again, you know, this is a drawn map. It's not exactly perfectly correct. Let's go with orange this time. Okay. Cool. There we go. So now let's go ahead and label Tropic of Capricorn. Capricorn. Okay, we got Tropic of Capricorn, Equator, and Tropic of Cancer. Okay, so our next one is the Arctic Circle. Now this one was a little hard to find. It's a little crammed up at the northern part of the globe, but our Arctic Circle runs through here. Okay, let me see if I can, oh, there we go. Right here in the middle of our map is where they found some room to actually label it. So it looks like the Arctic Circle goes through Alaska, northern Canada, Greenland, Iceland, and it's just above Iceland. Okay, so that's a good point. It also runs through Sweden and Russia. Okay, so let's find that on our map here. It looks like it's going to be the easiest to find Iceland. Okay, if we can find that Iceland-Greenland kind of connection, then we can draw a line just above there. Okay, so it looks like here on our map, this is Iceland. Okay, so let's go with blue. That kind of goes with the whole ice and everything, ice and being cold. So I'm just going to put my folder just above where I see Iceland on the map. Yep, that looks perfect because that's Alaska. This is northern Canada. Okay. All right. So we got our Arctic Circle. Let's go ahead and label it. Arctic Circle. Okay, check that one off. And now we're going to get our Antarctic Circle. Remember that ant means opposite, okay? Or not. So we're going to be looking down to the southern part of our map. Okay. I'm gonna grab them. Well, we can do another blue. They're away from each other, it's no biggie. All right, so let's look at our map. I don't know if, let me see if I can get my camera to tilt without falling. Perfection. Okay. So the Arctic Circle is all the way down here, and it's again, it's blurry, but that dotted line at the bottom of our map, that is our Arctic Circle. It looks like it's just north of where we have Antarctica. Okay, so let's look for that on our map. Okay, so this is Antarctica. Sorry, I had to pause the audio. I had a little cough. So we're just above, just north of Antarctica, and we're going to draw our line there. Okay. So we have our Antarctic Circle. Okay. All right. So again, this is how this map should be. If your lines are not in the same places where you have them here, you see them here, pause the video. Pause the video and go ahead and correct your work. Okay. Okay, moving on. Next, we're going to talk about hemispheres. Okay. So we didn't go over this in detail in class, but let me just explain some things here. So it'll probably be easier to explain it here. So let's look at this map, and we're going to pretend that the only lines that we see, or better yet, let me grab a blank one, just to make it a lot easier to explain. Okay. So I'm going to draw the lines of, I'm going to draw your equator and your prime meridian back on this page, on this blank map. Well, let's first start with your prime meridian. Okay. Now, when we're talking about hemispheres, we're looking at the different sides of the Earth when they are split by either the prime meridian or the equator. Okay. The Earth has 4 hemispheres. When we're talking about, or when we're looking at hemispheres in relation to the prime meridian, we are also considering your cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west. Okay. Now, all parts of the Earth are going to be in 2 hemispheres. Okay. You have your eastern hemisphere, or your eastern hemisphere, or your east hemisphere, and your western or west hemisphere. Okay. Then, when you have your equator, when you're looking at it from your equator end, you get your northern or north hemisphere and your southern hemisphere. Okay. Now, they definitely overlap. Okay. So, North America and the northern part of South America is in both the Western Hemisphere and the Northern Hemisphere. Okay? The majority of South America and part of Antarctica are in the Western Hemisphere. All of this is the Southern Hemisphere. All of this area is the Eastern Hemisphere. Okay? When we're looking at our homework, on this page, you've got this down here. Okay? Now, they labeled it for you. So all of this is your Northern Hemisphere. All of this is Northern. All of this is your South Hemisphere. Okay? This is your West Hemisphere. This is your East Hemisphere. Okay? So let's take a look at our questions. So it asks, what hemispheres do you live in? Okay? So we're in the United States, and the United States is in the North and West Hemisphere. Okay? Because we're above the equator, and we are west of the prime meridian. Okay? So your answers here should be north and west. Okay? This one asks, which hemisphere do you think has the greatest population? I would say west. I'm sorry, Eastern Hemisphere. That's just a guess. It just asks, what do you think? Which hemispheres is Australia, or which hemispheres are, whatever, which hemispheres is Australia located in? So we've got Australia down here, okay? And that tells us that here is labeled south and east. So it's in both the Southern Hemisphere and the Eastern Hemisphere, okay? Which hemispheres is India located in? Well, this is India right here. And we can see that it's in both the Northern Hemisphere and the Eastern Hemisphere. So the answer is North and East. Name a country that is in more than 2 hemispheres. Let's see. A country that is in more than 2 hemispheres. So that would be a country that's in 3 hemispheres. So let's see. This country is, because it's in both the Northeast Hemisphere and it's also in the South and East. This country is also in more than 2, because this whole country right here is in North and West, and it's also in the South. Okay? This country is also. Now, for quick reference, this is Brazil. The country west of it is Peru. And if we're looking at the African continent, that large country is the Democratic Republic of Congo, and we can just call it Congo for short. The country west of there, no, sorry, east of there, that's also in more than one continent, is Tanzania. Is that an A? Yeah. And Tanzania. And this small country here to the west of Congo is Kevin. So any of these answers would be correct for this one, okay? Sorry for this one. I'm gonna go with Congo. Have you been to a hemisphere different from the one you live in? Nope, I have not been out of this hemisphere. So for me, the answer is no, okay? If you need to correct any of your answers with this, go ahead. Okay. Our next page, our next practice page was using lines of latitude and longitude. It says, the lines of longitude and latitude are laid out on a grid on the Earth's surfaces. You guys see the grid. When you know the latitude and longitude, you can easily locate an exact spot. For example, if I asked you where Los Angeles is located, you might answer in the United States. However, the United States is a very large country, and your answer does not give me an exact location. If you gave me the coordinates 34 degrees north, 118 degrees west, I would be able to pinpoint its exact location. First off, I would know that it's in the northwest hemisphere. And secondly, I would know that it's 34 degrees north of the equator and 118 degrees west of the prime meridian. To find Los Angeles, start at the equator and move your finger north 34 degrees. Okay, it says you will have to estimate this as it is impossible to include all the lines on this map. Okay. Then starting at the prime meridian, move your finger west 180 degrees. There are where the two lines meet and intersect is where Los Angeles is located. It's marked on the map below with a star. So let's go through this process, okay? So again, I'm going to use colored pencils. And the first thing we're going to do is find the prime meridian. Again, your prime meridian goes from north to south and it has the measurement of 0 degrees. So I'm going to put that in red. Okay. With this line, we see our east hemisphere and our west hemisphere. Then I'm going to use this purpley blue and we're going to find our equator. Our equator has a 0 degree measurement. And we're going to do that. We're going to make that color just so it pops so you can see it a little bit better. Sometimes it's hard to see things when it's just a flat color, black and white. Okay, so let's talk through our example here. Okay, so it says to find Los Angeles, start at the equator. So we're going to find our equator again. Our equator runs from east to west around the Earth. And on our map, it runs from left to right. So we have our equator here. And then it says, move your finger north 34 degrees. So we're going to go north or upwards on our page. And we're going to use these measurements to figure out our 34, okay? So with this example, it looks like they gave us some dotted lines. So our 34 north is here, okay? So we're going to put one finger there. We're going to hold that space. Then starting at the prime meridian, move your finger west 118 degrees. So this is our prime meridian, okay? And so we're going to move west 118 degrees, okay? Then where the two lines meet and intersect, so we're going to move our fingers together, and where that star is in our example, that is Los Angeles, okay? So on this page, your directions asked you to draw a circle on the following locations, and it gave you 3 coordinates at the bottom. So let's look at the first one. We've got 30 degrees south and 118 degrees east. Okay? So, excuse me. Remember that your first number is always going to be your latitude measure. Okay? So we're going to find 30 degrees south. So we start at the equator and we're going to go down to about where 30 degrees. So we've got 20 and 40, and 30 is in between the two. So we're going to put our finger here. Okay? Our next reading is 118 degrees east from our prime meridian. So we start here, and because we're moving east, we're going to go over 118 to approximately where that is. So we've got 120. So 118 would be just before there. And so we're going to take 30, our 30 measure, sorry, 118 to here. Okay. And we're going to put a little circle there. Okay. Again, 30 degrees west. Sorry, 30 degrees south. Sorry, my bad. And 118 degrees east here. Okay. So this is A. Okay. So let's do letter B. We've got 50 degrees south and 60 degrees west. So let's find our 50 degrees south. So we're going to start with our equator. And since we're going south, we're going to move in this direction. Okay. We don't have an exact reading for 50, but we know that it's in between 40 and 60. So we're here. Okay. Then we've got 60 degrees west from our prime meridian. So we're going to start here and we're going to move west. Okay, 60 degrees. Okay, again, we don't have 60 degrees here. So I would say 60 degrees is about here. Okay, because it goes from 40 to 80. So somewhere about here. Not quite half, but somewhere close to it. Okay, so we move our points together, and that gets us right here to the southern tip of South America. For number two, I'm going to use, for letter B, I'm going to use green. So that's my answer for B. Okay. And letter C, 50 degrees north and 50 degrees west. Okay. So again, we're going to start here with 0 degrees. And we're going to go north this time. Okay. We got 40 and 60. So we're about here in between. And then 50 degrees west. Okay. So we're going to start here and we'll at 0 degrees on our prime meridian. We have 40. So we're just going to go just past 40 and then we're going to meet up. My fingers are working a little crooked today. So about here it looks like. Okay. And let's do orange for this one. Okay. So this should be B. All right. So we've got A, B, and C. Okay. If you need to pause the video here, you can. All right, moving on. All right, so I'm going to pause right here. I know the video is getting a little long. We can take a little bit of a break. All right, that's enough. Okay. All right, so we are going to move on to using longitude and latitude. And I forgot when I told you guys to do odd and even, so let me look at somebody's paper that started on that one. It looks like I had you guys do odd on this page, but I also kind of think I switched it up from class to class. I know for sure 8th grade had odd. 6th and 7th grade, let me go grab a couple of pages, a couple of people's work so I can tell you for sure. Let's see. I can't tell. Okay, well, we're gonna go through all of them. All right, so for this page, and it looks like the next few pages, you are certainly gonna need your reference atlas in your geography book. So go ahead and pull that out if you don't have it already. Okay? And again, that's this book if you don't already have it out. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and grab it. All right, so with this particular activity, it's asking you to figure out which country, which ocean, which bay, which whatever is located at these particular places. Now, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and do the odd ones. Okay, on each page as examples. Okay. And that will help you figure out the other ones. Okay. All right. So first one says, in which country is 65 degrees north and 110 degrees east? So like I said before, we're going to start with the equator. We're going to continue with the same colors. I believe I got equator red. I've got my prime meridian at green. Oops. Oh, I should have used my that's a mess, isn't it? Now, for reference, I'm gonna go ahead and draw the cardinal rows over here on the side. I suggest you do the same. This is north, south, east, and west, and this will help us with our directions, okay? So it asks, for number one, in which country is 65 degrees north and 110 degrees east? Okay, so we're at our equator. 65 degrees north, according to our cardinal directions, means that we'll go in this direction. So let's find 60. Okay, so 65 will be about here. And then we've got 110 degrees east. So starting at our prime meridian, we're going to move over 110 degrees east. So let's go east to about here. Okay. Now we're going to do the meetup. So let's meet up in let's see where this gets us. And so it's got us here. Okay. Now, this is going to be this large country over here on the Asian continent. So let's go ahead and grab our textbook. And to me, that looks like Russia. Okay. So your answer to number one is Russia. Okay. Now, next one. In which bay is 60 degrees north and 82 degrees west? So again, starting at our equator, we're going to go up about 60 degrees north. Oh, right here on the line. And then 180 degrees west. So we're here at our prime meridian, and we're going to move west 150 degrees. No, I'm sorry. Wrong question. Whew, my brain was like, where are we going? That's not where we're going. Okay, 60 degrees north, so we got that right, and 82 degrees west. Okay, so 80, we pretty much stay right here, 80. So let's go ahead and move here. Okay, so that is definitely on North American continent near Canada. This looks like, this is the US, this is Canada. So let's see what bay we've got on our map. So we got United States, Canada. Oh, that looks like the Hudson Bay to me. Hudson Bay. And a lot of you guys had questions as to what a bay is. So it's almost like an enclosed lake, but eventually it filters out into a sea or an ocean. Okay. It's kind of sort of like a gulf. Actually, I don't really see too much difference between the two, honestly, because we've got Baffin Bay and Hudson Bay, and then we've got Gulf of Mexico, and they kind of do, they have some similar land geographical characteristics. But either way, for this question, the answer is Hudson Bay. Okay, so number 3, Hudson Bay. Okay, number 5, on which island is 65 degrees north and 18 degrees west? 65 degrees north. Again, we're going to start here with our equator. We were 60 here, so we're going to go up just a hair at 65. 18 degrees west. We start here at 0 degrees with our prime meridian, and we're going to travel west by about 18 degrees. So I would say about here. Okay. And we're going to find the island. Bam. What's that? This is North America, Canada specifically. We're looking here. So this large one, according to our map, our atlas, sorry, is Greenland. So it looks like the island is Iceland. Okay. So our answer is Iceland. Okay. So number 5 is Iceland. Oh, I can't spell today. I-C-E. Land. Okay. Number 7. In which country is 32 degrees south and 25 degrees east? So 32, sorry, my bad. 32 degrees south. So we're starting here at the equator. We're going down to about here. And then 25 degrees east. Because remember, we're looking at our prime meridian and we're going east. 25 degrees east, about here. Oh, looks like we're going to be on the continent of Africa. I believe that's South America. Let me check. Sorry, South Africa. It is. It's South Africa. Okay, right there. All right. Yep, South Africa. I just checked my answer key. And it is South. Oh, my bad. South Africa. Okay. All right, now that I've gone over this with you, I want you to complete your even. Okay. Pause your video and do your even for practice. Okay. If you need to get those answers down, go ahead and pause the video. Okay. Next, we're going to flip on over. Okay. So this one is having you use those skills in a different way. And I do remember with this one, I had you guys do B, D, F, and H. Okay. So you're going to find this point on the map and give me the longitude and latitude. Okay. This one's going to be a little bit funky wonky because our numbers are going to be a slightly different. So I'm going to pull out my answer key. Okay. All right. So letter B. It gave us A already, so we don't have to worry about A. Letter B, where are you? Oh, B. Okay, cool. So this is definitely North America. Looks like Canada. Let's see. So again, just so we can see it, so give you a little color, it'll pop in the video. That is our equator. This is our prime meridian. Okay. We're going to do our cardinal signs here. North, south, east, west. Okay. All right. So let's look at these. You're always going to start with your parallel degree measure. Okay. So again, we're B. So we are going north of the equator. I would say this is about 50-ish. Okay. I would say 50-ish degrees north. I'm just going to say 50 degrees north is our first measure. Then we're going to look down here. Oh, so 40, I would say 20, 60, about 60. I would say this would be about 60. 60 degrees, and we moved west of the prime meridian. Okay. So about there, about 50 degrees north and 60 degrees west. Okay. And I'm only saying about because we don't have the real small measurements here. Okay. All right. So letter D. Here we go. Bam. Okay. So we are north of the equator and west of the prime meridian. So we got 60. It looks like it's about 20 degrees between each one, and this isn't even. I would say maybe about, or is it even? No, I would say probably about 70. About 70. Yeah, here to about there, about 70. We can say 70 degrees north. And we are west of our prime meridian here. So it looks like it's 40 degrees each. I would say it's pretty close. Let's say about 10 or 11 degrees. Let's go with 11 because just to throw an odd number in there. 11 degrees west. All right, cool bean. Okay. So for number 2, 70 degrees north, 11 degrees west. Okay. Letter F. So let's find letter F. Okay. So letter F is here. Okay. So we are going to start here with F. And it is north of our equator. So let's say, I'm gonna go, because that's pretty close. I'm gonna go to about 35 degrees north because it's north of our equator. Okay. Okay. So now let's get our longitude measure. Okay. So we are east of our prime meridian. So I would say it's about, we got 100. This is 120. I would say maybe 110. 110. 110 degrees east because we are east of our prime meridian. Okay. If you get confused about that, just make a habit to draw your cardinal rows. Okay. And then finally, letter H. H is down here on Australia. It's on Australia. So let's see. We are south of the equator, so we know that it's going to be a measurement south. So let's see, it's between that 40 and 20. H, let's go with about 22, 23. No, it's not that close. Maybe closer to 25. Let's go with 25 degrees south. because again, it is south of our equator. And then for our longitude measure, it is east of our prime meridian. And it looks like it comes in, let's say 150. 150 degrees east, okay? Okay, so your answer should be close to this. Just like the previous page, once you get these in, I want you to figure out C, E, and G, okay? All right. So let's go ahead and get to our last page. Yay! Okay, now I need to check. What did I tell you guys to do? Albert making on this stuff. Let me see. Let's see what we got. Let's see what Davian did, because I believe Davian, he turned, yep, he did all of his. Okay, cool. So on the back, I asked you guys to do the even ones. Okay, so there's 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Then 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Now that we've gone over all of this, and this is considered your review, out of all of this packet, this is going to be taken as a separate classroom grade. And because of that, I'm not going to review the answers with you. What I want you to do is to take the information that you've learned from this video, and I want you to use that to make corrections for this page. So to clarify the grading, you're going to get 2 grades. You're going to get your participation grade, which is for all of the pages except for this last one, okay? Then you're going to get a grade for the review, okay? It's on your review page that you need to make sure that you got the correct answers, okay? If you have questions about this packet or the expectations, you can ask me during class, okay? I hope that this video helped you guys out. Again, the whole purpose of it was to just, make sure that we were all on the same page. I don't want anybody to feel bad. It's okay to miss some things a few times the first time. That's how learning happens, okay? It's important that you take this chance to go back and check your notes and practice again. So, like I said, this is a separate grade. This is where you need to make sure you do your own work and you get it correct. I do want you, in order to get your full practice grade, you do need to go back and complete the even ones for the using latitude and longitude page and for finding latitude and longitude. Okay. All right. I hope you guys had I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Take care.